Hi guys, have you ever wondered how the real estate agents are doing? Well, I have. I worry about them often. Now, it must have been a difficult time when their boy Adrian Orr left. Fortunately for them though, his replacement seems just as pro-PONZI, so they may all be back in business soon. So let's take a look at how many agents there are in New Zealand. According to the Real Estate Authority, and I've put a link to this data in the description, here are the number of real estate agents for each area. So the active agents are all we are going to be concerned with right now, because they have an active license, whereas the inactive agents have their licenses on hold, so they're not practicing agents right now. You will see that there is a non-specified section, and I'm not sure what the problem was there. Perhaps those agents weren't able to fill the form out properly and didn't specify an area, I don't know. So then if we take a look at the latest REINZ report, and there's a link to that in the description too, we can see how many properties sold in each area. So if we look at Auckland, 2,305 properties sold, but there are 6,638 agents working in that area. So quite a few agents must have made no sales last month. And it's in fact even worse than it looks, because some more well-known agents make more sales than others. So this will leave even more agents with no recorded sales for that month. Now, some areas don't seem to fare as badly for agents, like Nelson and Marlborough for example. That area had 243 sales spread over 379 agents, which will still leave many less successful agents without any hard-earned money that month, but not as many as Auckland. So let's talk about the hard-earned money. According to a 2024 Trade Me Property article that I've put a link in the description to, Barfoot and Thompson, one of Auckland's largest real estate companies, uses this commission structure: 3.95% of the first $300,000 and 2% of the rest. And the article goes on to say, let's say an agent using the above commission structure sells a property at the national average asking price of $864,650. The total commission will be $23,143. The agent may get anywhere from $12,729 to $16,200, depending on what percentage of the total commission their agency is paying them. So for an average sale, an agent pockets between $12,729 and $16,200. Now, you would not need too many sales at those rates to be able to get through the cost of living crisis, that's for sure. And just imagine how much the agents who are selling in Herne Bay or Remuera for example get. They probably only need 1 or 2 sales per year to be able to struggle through. Now compare the 3.95% of the first $300,000 and 2% of the rest Kiwi commission structure with the Australian commissions. This is how agent fees stack up in major cities in Australia. Look at that: Canberra 1.71%, Sydney 1.66%, Darwin 2.32%, Brisbane 2.31%, Adelaide 1.57%. Hobart 2.12%, Melbourne 1.85% and Perth 1.91%. So if you are one of the many Kiwis who are a bit worried about how the poor New Zealand agents are going, you probably don't have to worry too much. Obviously, the real estate cartels hold a lot of power in New Zealand, and that is just what happens when a certain group is being made so wealthy by the actions of successive governments. How it works is, the cartel gets richer. The cartel can then give more donations to a political party. That party then gets into power, and then that party repays the favour by making the cartel much, much richer, and round it goes. So what good does this constant transfer of houses to each other that the government promotes actually do for the New Zealand economy? If we add up how many properties were sold over October in all areas, we get 7,505. Then if we take the mid-range that an agent gets for selling the average priced house, which is 14,464, we can see that 7,505 times 14,464 equals $108,552,320 that went to agents in October. And it's even worse than this because the total commission, which is the agent's commission and their agency's commission, is $23,143. So in fact, 7,505 times 23,143 equals $173,688,215, which is shoveled towards agents and agencies who are just assisting Kiwis in transferring houses to each other. And that's just in 1 month. And this is not even during a bullish property market. Imagine how much money was funneled out of the system and into the real estate cartel's hands during the COVID boom. So what benefit does this have for New Zealand and New Zealand's productivity? What has been achieved besides an enormous transfer of wealth for the simple act of putting some people in front of some other people and letting them do a deal? Now, I would suggest little or none. Unfortunately, this government loves the PONZI because they are too useless to see anything else. As other countries are developing manufacturing and AI, the government in New Zealand gets its lapdogs at the RBNZ to start cutting rates again to get the PONZI going again, so even more commission starts pouring into the cartel's coffers. And if you have ever wondered and wanted to see how much some of the top agents are making, just search for an agent in TradeMe and look at their past sales history. Here is just one Auckland-based agent that I looked up this morning. And this is not even the top agent. And most of these more successful agents do deals with their agencies and get to keep even more of the total commission. And they would also often sell homes in your higher end areas. So they would get much more than the $16,200 top end commission for your average sale that we were looking at before. But even at that amount, 53 times 16,200 equals $858,600 in 1 year. And the real amount will be much, much higher than this. And all of that money was for what? What did they do? What did they produce? What have they achieved for the country? All you need is a good solicitor and do a bit of research, and it's easy to sell your home yourself without paying an expensive middleman like this. So where is the benefit to New Zealand in this ridiculous game of musical chairs? It seems obvious to me that the best option for New Zealand would be to crash this Ponzi scheme completely and do away with this unproductive drain on society. And in this video I am only looking at the agencies. The banks are even more of a drain on society, and nearly all of that money goes straight to the Australian shareholders. Kiwis are being sold a lie. Your house price being artificially pumped up is not good for New Zealand. Obviously, if you don't care about New Zealand, then just let the status quo continue. But if you want to keep young Kiwis in New Zealand, and you want them to start being able to have their own kids, then there is no other option than to let the Ponzi die. Now I think it's well past that time now that we should be moving all of these unproductive agents, which all of them are, into the productive economy and get the country pumping again. Surely their skill set could be utilised in other parts of the productive economy, surely. And put what you think they could do in the comments. So please like and subscribe guys, and I'll see you all on the next one. Cheers for that.